This is the new 2024 Toyota Crown Limited. So far, this has been an amazing mix between a crossover and a flagship sedan since it replaced the Avalon for 2023. But can this Crown save the sales for the flagship sedan segment even though it is dying? Let's see exactly what the Crown can do. Now let's get things started with the exterior styling. You might have seen that this Crown looks a little bit different than most sedans, but more on that later. The only functional vent is up top, and this part down here is blacked out. It looks pretty cool, but the truth is it's actually fake. We do have a hybrid powertrain, so that does make sense. Now taking a look at the headlights, we do have that light bar that goes all the way across, and we also have the triple beam headlight design, which is found in most Lexus products. Now everything will be fully LED, however we don't get an LED fog lamp. Now coming to the wheels, these will measure in at 19 inches, and I really like the way they designed these. If you want more, you can get optional 21-inch wheels on this Limited and standard on the Platinum. Now let's move on to the side profile. This Crown sits 4 inches higher than a normal sedan, making it look a little bit weird, but it is still a little bit shorter than a RAV4. You also get a black trim piece down here, and we also get a chrome piece at the top. These mirrors will be mostly loaded with heating, power folding, and blind spot monitoring, but auto dimming is available on the Platinum. Now let's move on to the back. These taillights will go all the way across, which gives it an EV look, and we also have the Crown badge spelled across the back. These taillights will be fully loaded as you would expect on a flagship sedan, with the light bar that goes all the way across. The reverse lights will be at the bottom, and you will have the turn signal integrated with the brake light. Now let's move on to the interior and see what kind of features you get with the Limited model. Again, this is in the mid-trim level, so you're not going to get all of the bells and whistles like the top Platinum one. Starting with the door panel, we have some leather right here, soft touch plastic along the top, 2-person memory seats, all of your switchgear, and you also have a good amount of storage down below. Now, your armrest will be padded in leather, and you also get a Crown badge right there. We will also have the all-weather floor mats with the Crown branding, and these seats will be 10-way power adjusting with 2-way power lumbar support, and these seats will have a very comfortable perforated leather with bronze accents right here. Overall, these are very comfortable and they look super cool. Now take a look at this cabin. First of all, we have a heated steering wheel that is very nicely leather wrapped, and you can control that with this button right here. It can even have an automatic setting, which I think is really cool. Now moving on to the gauge cluster, this will be a full LED gauge cluster and following Toyota's latest design. You can customize this on both sides so you can have any information that you want at any time. Now moving on to materials, you have a nice soft touch plastic along the top, some bronze accenting, and some hard leather right here. This isn't plastic, but it is a little bit harder than normal leather. Now all of this area in the center console will be finished in plastic, however this part is in gloss black, and your armrest will be finished in a nice leather. Now when it comes to storage space, you will have a spot for your phone that is also a charger, 2 cup holders, and another storage space that is good for the car key. Now there is more storage space under here, and this actually opens both ways, which I think is really convenient and really cool. You have a little bit of space down here. You also have a separate tray and a USB port for the wireless Apple CarPlay. Now speaking of that, we have the latest audio multimedia system, and this screen is 12.3 inches. You have your music. You also can connect your phone wirelessly. Whether you have an Android or an iPhone, it is super easy to pair, and you don't have to use the cord unless you really want to. Now you have navigation, Wi-Fi hotspots, and that is about it for this 12.3-inch display. Now you can actually control the climate controls right here, and if you want to do that, then that's totally great. But if you're not a fan of having all of that in the screen, you still have physical buttons for all of that. You have your heated and ventilated seats, your dual zone climate control, and you also have the front and rear defrost. Now these seats are on auto right now, so they're not really going to act what I'm going to put in here, but you also have the button for your heated steering wheel, which is also automatic. I love how Toyota made everything automatic in the Crown. Taking a look at the shifter, this will be Toyota's new design, and you have a bronze accent right there. To put it in drive, you push to the left and down, and to put it in reverse, you push to the left and up. For neutral, you're just going to hold it to the left for about a second, and then you're there. When in reverse, you have a traditional backup camera, and you can change the different angles and the different guidelines. These will be active trajectory. Now to put it in park, you're going to push the P right there. Now you do have two USB ports right there, and you can easily slide a phone right in between those two cup holders. However, I did have trouble fitting my iPhone 15 Pro Max in the cup holder itself, since that is a pretty big phone and these cup holders aren't the biggest. So if you want to fit a bigger phone, I'd recommend using the wireless phone charger. Now up top here we have a traditional rear view mirror, but you can get a digital one on the Platinum. And you also have controls for this large fixed panoramic sunroof up top. Now let's take a look at the passenger side. We have basically the same materials like the soft touch plastic and leather, and we also get the bronze accent and storage down below. The seats will be basically the same with perforated leather with the white piping and the white contrast stitching, but we lose the 4 ways of lumbar support. This will be available on the Platinum. Getting in is really easy since this is taller than a normal sedan and not very high off the ground. I have a good amount of legroom, and this passenger dash is sculpted very interestingly. I get a good amount of thigh support, and if we take a look here, we have bronze accents that go all the way across the dash and around the vent, soft touch plastic up top, leatherette, and plastic around here. I would like this to be leatherette or soft touch plastic because that is where you'll be resting your knees, and that's not a very soft surface. Taking a look at the glove box, we don't get a lot of space, but you still get a good shelf system. I think this will be good for most people though. Now let's take a look at the second row, and this is why you buy a flagship sedan in the first place, the space and the luxury, and I can assure you that the Crown has both of that. These seats are super comfortable with that cushy headrest and the perforation, and you even get incredible details like the contrast stitching and piping. Now these will also be heated, which is very helpful in the winter, and you'll also get leather and storage down below. Getting in will be super easy for your passengers, and they will also get a lot of legroom. This seat is slid to the normal position in front, and I still get plenty of legroom, and I can even stretch out and put my feet underneath the seat. Now down in the center area, I get 2 USB ports and 2 vents, which is common in most sedans. Now for storage, I get a tight seat back pocket, which is kind of disappointing for the Crown. Now, we do have a nice panoramic sunroof up top, which lets in a lot of light, and that is very nice for the passengers. And you also can pull this down and open this up for a little center console with 2 cup holders. Now, I would say that the second row is a nice upgrade over the Camry, especially if you want more space. Now let's move on to the cargo area. In addition to having a lot of space in the second row, you also get a lot of space in the trunk. If I hold the button down on the key fob, that's going to pop the tailgate, and I can just lift it right up from there. I wish that it would automatically open though. You get a cutout on the left side, a ton of space, and you can even fold down the second row for even more space. Our tester does have the all-weather cargo mat, and you have Toyota Crown branding. Now, I really like when they have these cutouts because you can put anything that's a little bit wider than the trunk can provide. Now, that is only on the left side, by the way. Now, taking a look at the powertrain, we have 2 engine options. The XLE and Limited models get this 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder engine paired with 2 electric motors. This puts out a peak 236 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. This is mated to an eCVT transmission and gets a very good 42 miles per gallon in the city and 41 on the highway. Yes, this actually gets better MPGs in the city because you can then take advantage of the electric motors. All Crowns are all-wheel drive, and if this powertrain isn't fast enough for you, the Platinum model gets an upgraded 2.4-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo, putting out 340 horsepower. Now, I mentioned during the intro that this was a dying segment, and a lot of the cars in this class are going away. Nissan says that they're going to discontinue their Maxima in a couple years. The Dodge Charger was already discontinued just a couple months ago, and we have a lot more that I'm not going to mention. I think the Crown is doing an amazing job competing in this segment, and Toyota isn't having a bad time selling them. Moving on to dimensions, this Crown measures in at 196 inches in length and 72 inches in width. Well, that is going to wrap up today's video on this 2024 Toyota Crown Limited. I think the Crown would be a great option for those of you that want a larger commute car that is a mix between an SUV and a sedan, and that gets very good fuel economy and Lexus levels of luxury for $50,000. And on top of that, this is a Toyota after all, so you're going to get that amazing reliability that Toyotas are known to have. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.